Hey everybody, this is Tracy here with another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and we are here with our latest update on the United States versus Robert Sylvester Kelly. And not sure how today went for the prosecution. I do know that we could add one more person that was supposedly part of the enterprise, the bodyguards, security guards, the managers, and all that, to the growing list of people who have said that he didn't do any of this stuff, that he didn't order them to do anything. And so we already have the Anthony Navarro guy who testified that he basically did not see any underage girls, that, Kelly had some odd rules going around. He never experienced anything like it after he left his employment. But he didn't see anything, I guess, criminal, you would say. Then we had the Tom Arnold guy who, after he gave his testimony, basically came back and said that, what he was doing, he didn't see anything illegal, and that, it was no different. I guess what he was hired to do and then getting demerits and docked pay and that type of thing was no different than having somebody sign a non-disclosure agreement. Like, you are there on your own will and you have to abide by the rules, right? Then we had Demetrius Smith, who got up and acted a pure D fool, and I read the transcripts for you guys yesterday. There's a part 1 and a part 2, and then after they had all these shenanigans going on with Demetrius, they finally got to the end of the testimony, and Demetrius, basically said that he did the whole bribery thing with the court official or the clerk or the person at the welfare office. He didn't even know who he bribed with them $500, but whoever he bribed with the $500, he stated that Robert had nothing to do with it, did not order him to do it, and he couldn't even remember if he was in the room when he made the suggestion to Daryl McDavid about the $500 bribe. And then today, we had a man on the stage by the name of Lewis. And Lewis is actually Richard Arline. And you guys remember Richard Arline is the one who was arrested for trying to bribe Ariel last year. And so he pled guilty back in February, I believe it is. He pled guilty to the bribery charge, but he hasn't been sentenced yet. He was supposed to be sentenced June 9th, which would have been following the April court date for R. Kelly to go on trial. But because the trial was delayed to August, Richard Arline won't be sentenced until October. He might be doing some time, y'all, because he got on that stage and read his script about what went down between him and R. Kelly. And then as soon as Kenneth got up and asked him one question, he folded and said that R. Kelly ain't know nothing about him bribing Ariel. He was doing it because he thought it would help. And then R. Kelly didn't know nothing about the bribe. So I don't know. Judge Donnelly is probably sitting there like, what the hell going on? And the jurors probably ready to just grab their stuff and get on up out of there and just walk out, because this is a mess and they got to sit through 2-3 more weeks of this nonsense. So let me go ahead and read to you guys. There wasn't a lot of coverage today. I told you guys before that as the weeks go on, you can expect to see less and less reporters covering this story. Now, there may be some people in those rooms that say they are reporters. They may be bloggers, because I do find some little offshoot articles out there, but for the most part, the 5 or 6 people that I was following on Twitter is down to 2. And we know a couple of them announced after the first week that they were going back to their hometowns and that they would not be covering last week. And those same people aren't there this week. And then Julia Janae, who was covering for Court TV, I saw nothing from her today, and I haven't found any coverage on Court TV. And of course, I haven't been watching all day, but usually around this time they will cover the R. Kelly case. But so far, I've been sitting here and I haven't seen anything. But I will continue to tune in and see if they put up a clip of some sort where they are talking about the case. But they had an article on their site, but it really didn't talk that much. It talked about what happened earlier in the day, and that was it. And so I decided, I'm not going to wait any longer. I'll go ahead and do the video. So this is from Pilar Menendez, who works for the Daily Beast. And she says, 2 days after R. Kelly secretly married Aaliyah in 1994, and we should say allegedly, the singer is accused of assaulting a 17-year-old in his dressing room after a concert in Miami. The now 43-year-old testified in Brooklyn federal court on Monday. Now, this is saying a 43-year-old, but people are saying that this person who's testifying is actually the person that was supposed to testify in Minnesota, who was trying to bring the charges in Minnesota, and she was supposed to be a friend of Lisa Van Allen's, and her name, Prada, is the last name. Oh, I hate when I skip over my notes. Hold on a second and let me get this lady's name. Okay, Adelina Prado. Her handle on social media is at Cuban BRD. She spells her name Adelina, and this is who everyone is saying was the witness, and this is Jane Doe number 11. And the only skepticism I have is that they're saying that she is 43, but according to some older posts from social media, she was allegedly born, I believe, in 1980, which would make her, that would make her 41, right? So there seems to be a 2-year age difference, unless she's been lying about her age all along. She really was born in 78? Would that make it? So in any event, she stated, "I was in complete shock. I was just very introverted and shy, and I didn't know what to say at all." The woman, identified at the sex crime trial against the singer by her first name, Addie, told jurors on Monday, noting she only met Kelly once during his September 1994 concert in Miami. "I just went blank." Testifying in court, Addie spoke steadily and did not cry as she went public with her allegations for the first time. The woman told jurors that the assault occurred in a dressing room right after Kelly performed at the Superfest concert at the American Arena in Miami. Now, I didn't even know the American Airlines Arena. Was it called that back in 1994? Maybe it was. I'm not sure, but maybe it was. It was called that back then. A show that also featured rap duo Salt and Pepper. The main reason Addie and her friend had her mother score all access tickets to the show, she testified, was to see the Princess of R&B, Aaliyah, headline the September 2nd, 1994 event. Now, how was Aaliyah, who was fresh out the tracks, okay, just now releasing her new album, how was she the headline event? And R. Kelly was also on the ticket also, but Aaliyah was who everybody came to see and was headlining. I find that kind of hard to believe, but we're going to go with it. So Addie said she was not a fan of Kelly's and had instead attended the Budweiser Superfest concert in Miami with a 19-year-old friend in order to watch Aaliyah perform, but the teen singer did not take the stage. Unbeknownst to Addie, however, the 15-year-old singer just days prior married Kelly in a Chicago hotel suite with a fake ID that was obtained for her, according to prosecutors. Unfortunately, she did not perform, Addie added. When Kelly finished performing, Addie said the singer told the audience that any woman over the age of 18, and so every one of these witnesses we find out lying about age, be in places they haven't, they weren't supposed to be. It's like they're purposely giving him the out. Like, even though they're cooperating with the prosecution, it's like they're still trying to, create that little loophole for him to slip through or give the jury reasonable doubt to me. And so even though he said that, you could only come if you were over 18, if you wanted an autograph and you were welcome backstage, she says that security guards approached her and her friend offering the chance to meet him, but did not ask their ages. Now, how old was Addie? Because she keeps talking about, okay, I don't know why I'm asking how old was Addie, because we have a common theme going on here, and that common theme is everybody was 17 years old when they met him. Everybody was 17. Everybody except for Addie's friend who was with her, who was of age, who was 19. And so she said, after the concert, Addie said 2 men approached her and her 19-year-old friend to take her backstage to meet Kelly, where they received an autograph in front of members of the press. The room was soon cleared out, leaving only the teenagers and the singer in the room. When they entered Kelly's dressing room, they found the singer speaking with reporters, but no other audience members. Addie told Kelly she was an aspiring performer, and he wrote down his hotel number for her and invited her to come audition for him. When she told him she was 17 and didn't think she'd be allowed to his room, she said he whispered to an associate who escorted the media from the room so he, Addie, and her friend could be alone. Now listen, she claiming that she was assaulted, y'all. So you mean to tell me that he got all the press there witnessing him with these 2 people, whereas we were just told that they said anybody over the age of 18 can come get these autographs. Now, you mean to tell me nobody wanted to go get an autograph, that her and her friend were the only 2 people that wanted to get an autograph? And then the media was there, and he told the media to leave, and don't make sense to me, but we're going to carry on with this. And so she says he wanted to play a game to see who could kiss better, Addie said. He started kissing on my best friend, and then he started kissing on me. So alone, the singer asked the teenagers to play the game with him about who could kiss better, Addie testified. During the game, where Addie said the teens both kissed the singer, she said that Kelly moved her toward the back of the dressing room and unzipped her pants before having intercourse with her. And she was talking, so she said intercourse with me. Feeling overwhelmed, Addie said she tried to pull away but was unable to. He started getting a little more aggressive. That's when he started holding my wrists and unzipping my pants, pulling them down, and started having intercourse with me, she said. I was in front of the counter and he was behind me, she said, adding that Kelly had sex with me unprotected. She said that her 19-year-old best friend was in the room during the assault and that Kelly even tried to grab her hands to make her participate, but she refused. Now, I told y'all the story about when I was 13, like 1 week shy of my 14th birthday, and me and my best friend was at this concert, blah blah blah. It's in one of the previous videos. You mean tell me that all this was going on in front of the friend, and the friend didn't try to stop, the friend didn't try to slap him, push him, knock him over, nothing? She just stood there and watched this. Now she claiming that the man RAPE her, okay, but the friend, I guess, didn't see it that way because she didn't try to intervene or help. So then she goes on to say, Addie said that as Kelly R'd her without using a condom, Addie said Kelly tried to include her friend, but she refused. When he finished, the two teenagers ran out of the dressing room. Addie said her friend wanted them to go to the police, but she decided against doing so, fearing she wouldn't be believed and might be blacklisted from the entertainment industry. Girl, you weren't even in the industry. So she admitted that though her friend, and then I'm reading comparable statements from multiple articles here. So in the other article, it says she admitted that though her friend wanted her to press charges, she did not feel comfortable talking about the situation, adding that as an aspiring dancer and actor at the time, she did not want to be blacklisted from the industry. And this is what I always tell you guys in these videos, is that if you read multiple articles, each article might contain a few more words, right? So in that first article, they just said the entertainment industry. In the second article, they pointed out that she was a dancer and an actor, or wanted to be a dancer and an actor. And so then she went on to say, I did not want to be victim shamed. Addie is the fourth accuser to speak out in court against Kelly as part of the federal case. So far, all the victims or alleged victims who testified against Kelly have stated they were under the age of 18 when they met the R&B singer, and that during their relationship they were subjected to emotional abuse and a bizarre set of rules. Addie, who only used her first name in court for privacy reasons, told the jury she had attended the concert in Miami with several artists, including Aaliyah, were set to perform. But then, she said that Aaliyah didn't show up. Let's go down. Let's see. While Addie's allegations are not a part of the charges against Kelly, Brooklyn prosecutors have argued the disgraced, I hate when they use that term, singer abused at least 6 women and girls, 4 of whom were minors, when he first had contact with them. And then the Grammy-winning singer has denied the allegations, and his defense team have argued that their client's accusers are simply disgruntled women with an agenda. So during cross-examination, defense attorney Deborah Canick grilled Addie about her one-time encounter with Kelly and on her decision to keep the 1994 program that Kelly had autographed. The program, which was shown in court, also had Kelly's room number written on it, after Addie said that the singer invited her to come over for an audition. And then she's quoted as saying, Canick is quoted as saying, someone are you, according to you, and you kept the program as memorabilia. It was in a box, she added, later stating that she never told anyone because I didn't want more victim shaming and more trauma at the time. Then she says, I am an adult now. I'm not a little girl, she added after Canick grilled her on her decision to speak out now about the assault over 25 years later. And then they go on to talk about how last week a woman identified as Stephanie testified, and I did a video on Stephanie, and you guys can go and check that out. And then so they're talking about the whole Stephanie situation, and then they talk about Ariel and Geronda. Let's see. So then we move over to the first male accuser, and we have we know that this is Richard Arline. Remember, Richard Arline told Tasha K that he was not the victim number one of the John Does. Well, based on his testimony, he is victim number one of the John Does. So we know already that he is a liar. And so he went on to say that his first encounter with Kelly happened after he told him that he wanted to get into the music industry, and Kelly asked him what was he willing to do for music, and then proceeded to perform oral sex on him. Now, don't that sound like the same conversation that Ariel had? Ariel, the one that he allegedly was trying to bribe, who I have told y'all that I think they were all in cahoots together, that it was all a setup, and that Angelo probably orchestrated this skit where this man, was going to be the person that was going to bribe Azriel, and then they were going to let the feds find out that it was all just a setup. So then it goes on and says that the jurors started to listen to testimony from Lewis, who alleged Kelly abused him when he was 17. He asked me what I was willing to do for the music, he said. Lewis is the first male accuser to speak out against Kelly. After meeting Kelly at a McDonald's drive-thru in 2006, when he was 17 years old, a man testified on Monday that the singer assaulted him after promising to help with his music career. He asked what I was willing to do for the music. The now 32-year-old identified in court as Lewis told jurors at Kelly's crimes trial in Brooklyn federal court. He crawled down on his knees to me and proceeded to give me oral. Then the testimony marks the first time, they said that already, I don't know why they keep emphasizing that it is a male has publicly accused him. And then it says that Lewis told jurors that after meeting Kelly in December 2006 at his job, the singer slipped him a piece of paper with his phone number on it, which he gave his mom. Throughout their relationship, Lewis said he had sexual contact with Kelly several times, and it was usually recorded. Same story, right? As our relationship got stronger, he said I was like a brother. I was his little brother, Lewis told jurors, adding that Kelly asked him to call him daddy, echoing testimony from multiple female accusers. At least one woman who identified herself as Jane, and we know that that's Azriel, told jurors she too was lured by Kelly under the false promise of career mentorship. Other women have testified that they were emotionally and sometimes physically abused during their relationship with Kelly. While Lewis's allegations are not a part of the 9-count indictment against Kelly, Brooklyn prosecutors have argued the 54-year-old abused at least 6 women, blah, blah, blah. They're giving the backstory on the case and the Violation of Man Act. And then it says, to prove Kelly's pattern of abuse, prosecutors also revealed that Kelly had contact with at least 2 John Does, and they just keep wanting to put emphasis on that. The indictment states Kelly allegedly met one in December. We already know that, at the McDonald's. Okay, so then we go down, and they're talking about Azriel again and what she testified to. It says it is not immediately clear if Lewis and nephew knew one another. Remember, nephew is the person that Azriel claimed that she was forced to sleep with, that Kelly said that he had raised or something like that. So though Lewis did say on the stand that he often brought his friends to Kelly's parties, including one 16-year-old who the singer told him to bring around because he was, quote, pretty funny. Soft-spoken on the stand, Lewis told jurors on Monday that after meeting Kelly at the McDonald's when he was a senior in high school, his mother contacted the singer to try to get Lewis an audition. So here go the parents again. The conversation led to Lewis and his parents going to one of Kelly's parties at his Olympia Fields mansion, where he said he met the singer and took a picture with him. After the photo, Lewis said Kelly whispered in his ear, "Maybe it would be best if I come to the next party by myself." Soon after, he said his mother contacted Kelly and he was invited to come to the studio to audition. There, he said Kelly initially told him he had some potential before later saying he did not like the song that Lewis worked on with one of the singer's sound engineers in the studio. Lewis said that he continued to see Kelly after that initial session, oftentimes meeting up with Kelly and his crew while they were playing basketball at a gym in the Chicago suburbs. He said that while watching the group, he often saw, quote, "some ladies on the sideline who were wearing baby clothing." Okay, baby clothing, wow. That's interesting. So once Kelly told him to come over to meet with some music colleagues, but Lewis said when he arrived at the Illinois mansion, only the singer was there. He said Kelly took him to a detached garage that was outfitted as a boxing ring, where he began to ask him what he was willing to do for music. During the conversation where Kelly asked him if he had fantasized about men, the singer gave him oral. Lewis said he added that Kelly eventually stopped because the teenager wasn't into it. "He told me to keep it between me and him and said we were family now," Lewis said. Lewis said that sometimes Kelly would make him have encounters with other people, including one harrowing encounter inside the same detached garage. He snapped his fingers 2 times and a young woman crawled out from underneath the boxing ring. He told her to come here and she crawled over and gave him oral, Lewis said, adding that Kelly also made the woman perform oral on him. He was telling her to say she liked it and say my name, he said, adding that while he didn't mind the sexual contact itself, the encounter was a weird situation. I was uncomfortable. Despite the encounters, Lewis said he continued to meet with Kelly and go to the singer's parties because he was dedicated to having a music career. "I really wanted to make it in the music industry." Lewis was expected to continue his testimony on Monday afternoon. And then I came across a second article, and this article was off the AP Wire, and it basically goes over that they met at the drive-thru in 2006 when he was 17, promised to help him with his music career. He asked him what he was willing to do for the music. The now 32-year-old, identified in court as Lewis, told jurors that Kelly's crimes at the sex crimes trial in Brooklyn federal court. Then they talk about the fact that, this was the first time a man had ever accused Kelly. They talk about the 2006 meeting. The singer slipped him a piece of paper that had his phone number on it, which he gave to his mom. As our relationship got stronger, he said, I was like a brother. I was his little brother, Lewis said. Lewis told jurors, adding that Kelly asked him to call him daddy, echoing testimony from multiple accusers. Let's see, and then they talk about, and remember, a lot of these people are getting these articles off the wire, off the AP Wire, and off of Reuters, and then they just change certain things to make it their own. So they're going over Ariel's testimony. Let's see. I've already read that to you. So I think there was something else down in the bottom here. Let's see. Maybe I copied the same article twice because this looks like... Oh, okay. Here he says... that Lewis rattled off ways he would assist Kelly, like carrying his bags, but Kelly appeared unreceptive. "That's not it, that's not it," he said. Kelly responded. And then that was when he was asking him what would he be willing to do in order to get his music career off the ground. And Lewis was basically thinking of, little minor things that he could do, to help out, help around the house, that type of thing. But he is saying that Kelly wanted more than that. He said that his music career, Lewis, an aspiring R&B musician himself, texted Kelly, whose real name is Robert Sylvester Kelly, and was ultimately invited to one of the singer's music studios to play some music he had worked on, but Lewis didn't get very far. He let the song play for only 5 seconds, and he said he didn't like it, Lewis said. Lewis left the studio discouraged that the king of R&B wasn't interested in his music, but he continued to text Kelly and later saw him at a gym around the corner from the McDonald's where he worked in Markham, Illinois. Soon enough, he was regularly invited to Kelly's home for parties to play basketball with the singer. Afterward, he told me to keep what happened between the two of them. In a later episode, Kelly snapped his fingers. That's when the girl allegedly came from under the boxing ring. Let's see. Talk about that. Despite the sexual encounters, Lewis said he did not want, okay, I already read that, he continued to hang out with R. Kelly because he really wanted to be in the music industry. And then he claimed that they maintained their friendship until at least 2018. He said the last time he saw Kelly was at his house in Trump Tower when the singer asked him to write a letter to protect me and him, Lewis said. "He told me word for word what to say," Lewis said, adding that the letter falsely suggested that someone was trying to pay him off to say that he and Kelly were having a homosexual relationship. Although that was the last time he saw Kelly, Lewis admitted that he was later federally charged for trying to bribe one of the singer's accusers to not cooperate with the government. He noted that he eventually took a plea deal and copped to attempted bribery, which resulted in his cooperation in the case and his testimony on Monday. Lewis, however, insisted that he did not bribe the Kelly accuser at the singer's direction and that the singer did not know anything about his plan. Since Kelly's arrest in 2019, at least 3 people have been charged for trying to intimidate, threaten, or corruptly influence Kelly accusers. One pleaded guilty in February to attempting to bribe a woman, which is Lewis here, whose name is Richard Arline, who said that she slept with Kelly when she was 17 in exchange for her silence. Lewis said he last saw Kelly in person in the late 2010s, which is the 2018, in the hallway outside the singer's apartment in Chicago's Trump Tower, where Kelly summoned him there to talk, saying he needed protection. And see, and I believe that the prosecution just made up this whole thing about these letters and needing protection and all this stuff, because remember, I think it was Steve Greenberg who said during an interview that he had signed affidavits from the women saying that they were all over the age of 18. So I think this is where that story is coming from, where they're saying that Kelly supposedly was going around asking people to write these letters. I think that's coming from Greenberg saying that he had those affidavits. And then someone had raised the question on Twitter about the affidavits and why not challenge some of this stuff. And then we have to keep in mind, and I think I said this on one of the previous videos, that, the defense is very limited in resources and funds, and you have to investigate this stuff. You have to be able, like if somebody posted something on social media, you can't just send the defense a copy of the social media post. Like, they need to know the URL, especially if the person has deleted the post or deleted their account on social media. They need the URL. They need to know the date, the month, the year, all of that of when this person posted this. And then that way they could subpoena the social media outlets, who then has to verify that this was a tweet that actually happened. This was a Facebook post. This was an IG story, or whatever the case may be. And all of that takes money and it takes time. And then also the defense has to weigh the option on whether or not it is a line that they want to, pursue. And then we talk about, I think in the comments of my video about Demetrius Smith, was somebody had raised the question about whether or not Azriel's sister was there. And so we all know that the sister said she was there. Azriel said the sister was there. They said on Surviving R. Kelly that the sister was there, right? So why didn't the defense bring up the fact that the sister was there chaperoning Azriel? And so we still don't know if that's going to surface, because remember, the defense haven't put on their case yet. But one reason why the defense may not have wanted to bring the sister up, even though they know the sister was there, is that they don't know what the sister witnessed. Because remember, the sister left because she said things were so crazy and out of hand, and it was just too much for her to deal with. So imagine if the sister got on the stand and started talking about all this craziness that she witnessed, then that could, potentially harm the defense's case. So it would be better to not bring the sister there and let them go with this narrative that, Azriel was there on her own and Kelly should have known better and all of that. So not only does it cost money to explore and investigate stuff, they also have to be strategic on how much do they want to go in on a certain, go down a certain path, and whether it's best to just leave something left unsaid. You see what I'm saying? So that's the kind of stuff that's going on in this case. And I think that was pretty much it. Got to the end, and he said that, Kelly gave him the notepad to write the note. Other witnesses said the same thing. And then says Lewis appeared uncomfortable while testifying. He spoke softly and haltingly, using few words when answering questions posed by Assistant U.S. Attorney Elizabeth Geddes and Kelly's attorney Deborah Canick. And then they talk about how in August 2020, he was accused of bribery, and phone records included in the original charging documents. Lewis suggested that Kelly would pay for the bribe, but on the stand, he testified that Kelly, who was in jail at the time, wasn't involved in the scheme, and that he came up with it on his own. And then while cross-examining Lewis, Canick suggested he had an incentive to tell a story that maligned Kelly to fulfill the terms of his cooperation agreement. However, Canick struggled to come up with factual discrepancies in Lewis' story. He spent several minutes asking Lewis why he testified that Kelly opened the door to the Olympia Fields home on the day he allegedly assaulted Lewis for the first time, when Lewis had said at another point that a person named Candy handled security at the door. Lewis said Candy simply wasn't there that day. Lewis testified that one of the reasons he tried to bribe the other accuser was to help both of them. He believed the woman might have recordings of encounters with Kelly, and he hoped they would never see the light of day. Despite his past, Lewis said he still hoped to make it in music. Assistant U.S. Attorney Elizabeth Geddes asked Lewis the same question prosecutors asked other witnesses who said Kelly promised to bolster their music careers. What, if anything, did the singer do to help? Lewis gave the same answer as every other witness, nothing. And to me, it don't seem like the prosecution got nothing. Okay, so anyway, what a hot mess. Okay, just a hot ghetto mess. So that is it for me. Go ahead, leave your comments below, rate the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.